My name is Rick LeShane, work for Pure Air Filtration. I'm here to talk a little bit about emergency gas scrubbers, which we see on the screen, reducing toxic gas risk using reliable emergency gas scrubbers. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. Again, I'm Rick LeShane, Territorial Sales Manager for Pure Air Filtration. I have been in the water and wastewater industry for 30 plus years. And again, we're here to talk a little bit about emergency gas scrubbers. Let's see if I can make sure I'm using this new computer okay, which is different than mine. I do apologize. Let's see what's going on here. I was using this one. I'm sorry, guys. I was using this one to change screens earlier. Let's change slides.
Just click.
There we go. Okay. Sorry about that again. This is a good one already. All right. Here's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Again, a little introduction, of course, on myself, which we already did, and a little introduction on the company itself. A little bit of air quality problems in the wastewater industry, about toxics, and these are toxic or poisonous gases. They're also corrosive. Benefits of air purification systems. Again, risk management. We'll talk a little bit about that. System reliability, some industrial standards. Chemisorb, which is the way that our dry media works when it is. There's a chemical reaction with the gas. And solutions, what to do, dry versus wet scrubbers, media life, and air monitoring. Okay, let's see something here. Okay, so introduction to Pure Air. Okay, so a manufacturing facility located outside of Atlanta, Georgia. We're in suburbia of Atlanta in Norcross, Georgia, approximately 45 employees. So countries all over the world. Here are some notable customers of ours. You can see there's some big names in here. And one thing that I'd like to congratulate Pure Air Filtration on is 20-year anniversary this year. So that is fantastic. In Pure Air, we are a single source manufacturer of gas phase systems, chemical media, monitoring tools, or one-stop shop. ISO certified, multiple types of markets and multiple markets for industrial markets, municipal markets, so multiple applications, very customizable and engineered unique designs, again, for the footprint, which is required by the customer. Multiple families of specialty absorbents, something a lot of them we do manufacture, produce in-house, carbons, engineered carbons, and engineered medias. Monitoring of the absorbent consumption, which is very important for many reasons, mainly to keep from getting any toxic or odorous air, premature air breaks, and then laboratory testing for customers and media sampling. We have our own lab. You can send your media in and have it tested. Again, here's some of the industries that we are in. Odor and environmental emission controls, again, water and wastewater treatment plants and municipal and industrial plants. Indoor air quality, for example, here's an airport. Basically put our equipment into the HVAC intake and to keep the people and the customers at the airport from smelling, for example, the jet fuel. Protecting of mission critical electronics. A lot of these gases that we deal with they're odorous, either toxic, they're also can be very corrosive. So that's what we're talking about here. A lot of refineries, a lot of pulp and paper, and even in the municipal world of wastewater treatment plants. And then today what we're going to talk about a little bit is our emergency gas scrubbers. Air quality problems in the wastewater and water industry. Again, where toxic gas scrubbers needed. Protect neighboring communities and businesses from accidental toxic releases. Protect on-site personnel from toxic gases. Again, you need to protect the surrounding population, the personnel, the employees at the plant from an accidental spill. Protect systems from damage, unplanned downtime. Again, you have for example, a chlorine spill. It will definitely produce a lot of downtime and problems, with the procedures of the plant. Some of the common toxic gases in the water industry or water and wastewater industry. Some of the main ones that we deal with: sulfur dioxide, chlorine, and ammonia. See over here for an example of a couple of large 1-ton cylinders. Okay, so risk management. Our piece of equipment can help the municipality or the customer with their risk management plan. In a nutshell, the risk management plan is the customer needs to identify the potential effects of a chemical accident, identify steps to prevent that accident, and then spell out emergency response procedures in case of an accident. And that number 3 is where we can really help to keep say, a chlorine spill from, getting into the atmosphere and affecting the surrounding community. So again, we can help a municipality with the risk management plan with our piece of equipment here. Risk factors to consider: amount of gas stored on site. That's going to determine the sizing or how we size the equipment. Okay, so that's something good to know. Location of personnel and the public. You want to know what your surrounding situation is. Again, same with the geographic areas, the surrounding area, and the facility layout. Again, you want to know where everything is. You want to know how everything will be affected by an actual toxic gas spill. Some critical area characteristics. The area volume. Again, that helps us size it. We need to know how large the area is that we're pulling the air from. Structural conditions, air tightness, crossflow. Crossflow is very important when the blower turns on an emergent gas scrubber. It's good to have some crossflow coming through the room. It just helps the piece of equipment pull the toxic gas in. Location and the facility. Again, where are the tanks? And as far as proximity of the actual equipment, that'll help you lay out your ductwork, how much ductwork you're going to need. Industry standards. Again, dry scrubber, which is the use of a solid absorbent to remove the gases. The air passes through a bed of media that captures and neutralizes the gases upon contact. And then other technologies in this industry is a wet scrubber. The wet scrubber is the use of a hazardous corrosive liquid that is either sprayed into the vessel where it contacts contaminated airstream, or liquid is sprayed on solid media. So they'll have basically media that sprays on. But again, you use an caustic solution to neutralize the toxic gas. Dry scrubber components. You see, there's only 3 of them. You've got your vessel. Here we've got a vertical vessel. Here we have a horizontal vessel. Absorbent media. I need to figure out how to do my little cursor here. There we go. Your media, and then your blower. Again, 3 simple components, or 3 components, main components. Okay, here we go. Okay, now here's an example of wet scrubber. You have your vessel, you have your pump, you have your lines that convey the caustic fluid, your nozzles that sprayed into the media, blower, Media packing, again, the media packing that's the caustic liquid is sprayed into, and your caustic liquid holding tank. So again, a lot of different things to have to deal with a wet scrubber system. Um, Wet scrubbing, lower initial investment, significant maintenance requirements. Again, and we'll talk about that. But anytime that you're dealing with caustic solutions, you're going to have issues with the valves and the pumps and the lines if they're not properly maintained. And with this piece of equipment, it's very important that it works when it is called on. And just like I was talking about, some things that come with the wet scrubber, replacements of valves, pumps, and fittings due to the corrosion. Relies again on a hazardous chemical for the reaction. Dry scrubber, lowest ownership cost, again, due to a lot of the preventive maintenance that has to be done to a wet scrubber, low maintenance, low maintenance requirements, and performs consistently at low or high concentrations. So if it's a high concentration of toxic gas or low, it's always going to put out into atmosphere, less than 5 parts per million. Um, and again, here's an example of what can happen to your pumps and your valves and your spray nozzles if they're not properly maintained um, when it comes to a chemical or a wet scrubber. And I said it earlier, but when these units are called on to perform or to come on, it is a very important thing for them to work properly. And if they haven't been maintained properly, you may have some issues. There's some solutions. There's some pure air solutions. Excuse me. But again, here you can see we have many different configurations, and it's all based on the size or the amount or the pounds of, we'll just say, chlorine gas for this. For instance, here we have an EGS 150, which can handle, and it's this one right here. It's designed to handle the release of a 150-pound bottle of chlorine. We can do combinations of little EGS 300, again, 2 150 bottles, and on. Again, it's just customizable for the customer's needs. EGS 707 is a horizontal system similar to this one. This one is actually an 808. This one's over at a customer over there in Alabama. This is an EGS 8. You have EGS 10s, and again, these two can handle 2 tons of a chlorine. How does a dry scrubber work? Well, basically the gases or air passes through absorbent media. Media is captured. The media captures the gases. Media converts gases to a harmless solid. For example, with the chlorine, it reduces it, or it neutralizes it, and it becomes a harmless salt compound. And then the pure air exits the media into atmosphere. It's treated. Basically, what this is, we need to allow for the initial maximum release. Again, basically, what we're saying is that you need, at a minimum, of 2,200 CFM to 3,000 CFM to maintain a vacuum to be able to scrub or pull in or overcome this 400 pounds after the first minute, then the 80 pounds, after the initial release. Here's some installations. This happens to be it says, interior installation. This is a 1 ton. This is an EGS 8. You can see this is actually what we call, yes, EGS 8. It's a vertical system. This is another vertical system here. Exterior installation. This actually happens to be one right up the road here in Georgia. This is a 1 ton system at a water plant. Here's a difficult installation. This one we actually had to disassemble the equipment and ship it, and then put the disassembled pieces into the room where it needed to be, and then put it back together. So, and here's some examples of, again, a vertical system. The gas or chlorine comes from the top through the media, up through the blower, up through the stack, and into atmosphere. This happens to be this is a 2-ton horizontal system. You can see here. A lot of our customers realize and feel that, from the beginning, from when they're designing the project, that the horizontal system is easier to maintain. It's easier to change out the media. There's a lot of advantages to the horizontal design. We'll talk a little bit about media right now. Okay. The way our media works is basically a chemisorption. Is basically a result of a chemical reaction in an absorbent. And this is a sphere of aluminum oxide that is impregnated with a chemical. And as the gas passes through the media, there's a chemical reaction that oxidizes and converts the corrosive gases to a harmless solid. In the chlorine, in the case of chlorine, again, we turn it into a harmless salt compound, resulting in something that it's treated like, as far as landfill and that type of thing, it's treated just like any ordinary waste. It's non-toxic and landfillable. Some of the common gases, some of the common medias that we use for the gases. We use safety sorb for the removal of chlorine, carb sorb, or actually also safety sorb 2 for the removal of SO2, and ammonia sorb to captures ammonia. Chlorine removal media, again, safety sorb, talk about it a little bit. High capacity removing specific chlorine. It is non-toxic. Again, it's landfillable, landfill disposable. End results are salt, or like I said earlier, a harmless salt compound. It's stable, infinite shelf life, unless it comes in contact with chlorine or water or crushed. It's indefinite shelf life, and it's non-flammable, UL certified, and that's very important when it comes to chlorine scrubbers. Again, here we'll talk a little bit about this, why UL certification matters. When it comes to, again, our media, or our chlorine media, is based, it's an aluminum based media. Okay. The reason for that is when you bring carbon and chlorine together, it basically, during the process of scrubbing the chlorine out of the air, you get an exothermic reaction, which causes heat. Okay. I think we all know that heat and carbon don't really mix, so that can create a fire. So that's why it is very important to make sure that your media does not contain any carbon in it, because again, in the MSD states that the carbon must be kept away from chlorine. So again, ours, aluminum based, non-flammable, don't have to worry about the possibility of a fire when you have a chlorine leak. That's the last thing you need is fire when you're having a chlorine leak. Media monitoring. I have a couple of different ways to monitor the media. Media testing and monitoring. We have, media life analysis. We have our own lab on site here where our customers can send the media in. We analyze it for, how much life is left. Send the customer a report. It's free of charge to our customers. We also have what's called a little media indicator rod right here. And it basically goes in to the media bed at a 45-degree angle. And it will corrode as whether it be H2S or chlorine. Once the chlorine is absorbed or has expired the media in that area of this vessel, it will corrode this rod, giving you like a manual. Almost works like a dipstick on a car. You literally pull it out, you can look at it and just see how much of the media has expired in the container or the vessel. And we also have our electronic media bed monitor, our EBM, which you can see here. You have different sensors. The sensors are going to sense the media as it expires. And basically, what happens is the chlorine will come in from the top and it expires in bands. So again, these sensors will sense that the media is expired, and it can send a signal to a SCADA system, or where it talks about, let's see, alert monitors. First to market electronic monitor in the industry to give live readings, absorbent media consumption in real time, programmable logic, alerts customers when media is potentially or completely consumed. Again, facilitates the advanced scheduling of media changeouts. Very important to know, how much media you're going to need on, how much media you're going to need on hand. Avoids contaminated breakthrough and extended downtimes. Uh, it's equipped with a wireless, or again, just like I was talking about earlier, it's going to be wireless. Is it not showing? Oh, it's disconnected. Okay. Okay.